DSS. DSS.
All right. Feel free
Bam.
to take us away, Anna.
What's up? What's up? I'm in here, Car Podcast with Supernoon and Video Guy, aka Andrew, coming hot off the 3-0 over 100 Thieves for the third place match in LCS Finals weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Going into tomorrow, playing against Team Liquid rematch, our second finals in a row. And today, Newton and I, and of course Andrew behind the camera, we're recording a bunch of 2XKO related stuff that you guys will be seeing in the future. But yeah, we got Andrew, we got Noon. How are you two doing?
Chilling.
Pretty chilling. Like, we filmed some good content this morning. Thank you, Noon and Kevin, for tanking the heat. It was probably the hottest weekend in LA, like, for months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 97 degrees or something like that. But you're good with that, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
You're Vegas and you're also from LA.
Yeah, I'm from LA and coming from Vegas. It's not too bad. It wasn't dry heat, so it was, like, pretty all right.
Good.
Yeah. Pretty chill.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, so 2XKO has a booth this weekend over at LCS Finals. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play a single time for this. But I am looking forward to two doubles goats being together and getting to play together.
Oh, yeah.
I think you get to earn the doubles goat title, right?
The
11-day goat.
I guess, yeah, just for the alpha, yeah. But me and Will gotta defend it, so.
That's true. But
Yeah.
but I will say I think you two were definitely challenged by worthy opponents.
Oh, yeah, there are definitely a lot of people got really, really, really good really fast. And it was funny because that was me and Leffen's first time duoing. We never duoed before that.
Really, not even at like the global event?
No. Whenever we played at like other open things, we just played 1v1 the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't duo at all. So then he had played like duos with other people before, but I had never.
Okay.
So that was just my first time straight up trying like the duo system.
Oh, you never
during the
played
alpha.
doubles?
No, I never played doubles before that. Yeah.
But you were such a natural.
I learned fast.
Wait, was there any prep beforehand? Like, because you guys were just in the same house, right? Like,
Yeah. So we were both in my house. I mean, not really. Like, I think it was pretty easy for both of us because like I gave him Echo, he gave me Darius, and I played the team. So I already kind of knew what we were supposed to do, and I was like, when we started playing, I was like, oh hey, why don't you try this, and that? And he was like, all right, sure. And it's easy because he's playing Echo, and then I also play Echo as well. So like I can just like see him do something and be like, okay, this is gonna happen. Boom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw K7 and Sonic Fox doing like a lot of that stuff too. Like when you're familiar with the team, you know exactly where you're supposed to time the mix up and whatnot. And I saw them doing like singles combos as a duo. That was so cool.
It was really hype watching other people like do stuff like that. Yeah.
For you and Leffen, who's like the team leader?
The team leader.
Does that exist?
I don't think so. No, we just bounce off of each other.
Okay.
Like I feel like I'm a good supportive role. Like I don't like calling the shots.
Yeah.
Really, I'm like I'll play off of you. So like if you say something, I'm gonna make it happen, right? Like if
Right.
you want to play lame, we're gonna play lame. If you want to like, I'm gonna avoid this, call my assist here. I'm like ready for it. So
Yeah.
like when he says assist is coming, or like I'm gonna jump, do this thing. Like I'll play off of it
what
really well.
what do comms sound like in a match? Because when I sit in on other people, it's kind of just like but then it's because they didn't have like it was like the first week of the game.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a lot of just like dead air unless something's happening. So like if we have bursts, we're gonna call for burst, right? But that should be easy. Like once me and him, because like a lot of it was really easy for me and him because we just kind of share a lot of the same like in-game philosophy. So it's like, okay, they hit me, I'm gonna burst like the third hit with a combo. It's not jump cancelable, like safe burst, stuff like that. Or like, oh okay, I'm jumping, or it's a lot of it is like playing by feel. So it's like if I jump and I avoid their assist, we counter call. Or like, okay, I'm gonna back up, you're low health, I'm gonna call my assist safe, you're gonna tag me, and I'm already expecting that kind of thing. So it's like not a lot of like crazy stuff. So it's a lot of like before the round starts, or like when you kill a character or something, it's like, hey, I'm gonna back up, right? And then I know what that means,
Right.
as the assist. Or like I'll tell him, okay, I want to play lame, so he won't call his assist for a bit. I'll call for tag, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, but I feel like when I was watching you two play, like, let's say the moment you got your hit, you're saying like, I'm jumping level 2. You know?
Oh yeah.
So like the moment that you get your hit, like you're saying what you're gonna do, and then maybe it informs life and be like, okay, I'll call assist on your Oki or something, like that.
Yeah. So a lot, there's also stuff like that, like on Oki calling the assist. It's like, oh hey, give me orb assist, or like, hey, give me hook assist, right?
So sick, dude.
And eventually we got good enough that we stopped needing to call that.
Mhm.
There was like in the first couple tournaments, he was like, okay, hook, and I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. And then eventually it was just like, okay, he's doing the Oki, I'm gonna call hook. He already knows. He's expecting it, right?
Yeah.
Synergy.
Yeah. So like that's what I really like when it's because
How long did that take?
yeah. It took like 3 or 4 days of like playing like together like that. Yeah. I think
So
like
quick, dude.
yeah, because I feel like stuff like that is kind of useless to say. Like you should just know that, or I should know that. Okay, he wants my hook here, right? Stuff like that, and then you should just only call for like something that is not expected, like in ahead of time, right? So like calling like when you want to use meter, for example, is like something you always have to do. It's like
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna use 2 bars here, or like I'm gonna tag launcher you in, right? Is a big one, so that way you just don't jump scare them with the tag launcher
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
earlier
yeah,
combo.
yeah.
That was a big one because Echo and Darius both have to use tag launcher in a lot of their routes.
Uh-huh.
So I think that was probably the most important one outside of like we played Double Down, which is the DHC one.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna level 1, get ready to super back, right? That was a big calm as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I realized we also didn't really do. We kind of did like a light intro, but maybe we should.
Should we intro our guest?
Yeah, let's intro our guest.
Okay, right on. Noon, give us your little intro. What's your spiel?
Hi, I'm Supernoon or Noon, whatever you want to call me. I've been playing fighting games for 15 years, I think now. And yeah, I mean, a lot of you may know me, may not know me. Yeah, my goal is always just to be one of the best fighting game players in any game I played, and I've been able to do that in every game I played. So that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So your main games throughout the years has been
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, MVCI, DBFZ, and now Guilty Gear, or Guilty Gear is my last one, now 2XKO for
Yes.
now, yeah.
If you could win a major in any of those games, not including 2XKO, which one do you think would mean the most to you?
At their peak?
Yeah.
Marvel.
Marvel? Why?
Yeah, Marvel, yeah, I would say Marvel, yeah, Marvel 3 or Dragon Ball, I think.
Okay.
Both for different reasons. So, like, Marvel 3, I think, would mean a lot to me because it was, like, my first real competitive game.
Right.
And I played it a lot as a kid. I was, like, 12 when I started competing. And, yeah, I sucked a lot. I was so bad. And I got better through, like, net playing, and then I got to go to my, like, local scene here in SoCal. And eventually I got really, really good. I got so good that I was winning, like, my local for, like, a year straight. Like, very close. Barely ever lost toward the end. But I feel like I really, really played that game hard because I felt like a lot of people I watched play it, especially at the time, were not that good. So I feel like, hey, I can be better. I can make these people play better because they're lazy. So I feel like if I could win a Marvel 3 major back in its peak, like 2016, 2015 or something like that, that would feel like justified. Like, yeah, I was right. Like, I am better than these people. Oh yeah, and then on Dragon Ball, I feel like the competition, it's kind of like the opposite. Where like I felt like so many people like are like the top players I was playing against in Dragon Ball. 'Cause I was always like a top 10 player for like most of Dragon Ball, like the first 2 years that I played it. And like I feel like the people I was playing were just so good at fighting games. Like not even just Dragon Ball. Like they were just fighting game skill and like IQ was insane. And like I'm playing dudes like Goichi and like Sonic Fox and To Kill Sage like, on the regular. These are like my training partners. And like yeah, playing them in casuals and then going to tournament, and I just feel like if I beat them, it just would have felt like finally justified. Like, yeah, I am one of the best like fighting game players, like just period ever. Because it was just so hard.
Did you ever get to?
I played Goichi one time in tournament. Sage I've played a couple times. Sonic I've played a couple times. Sonic has just like destroyed me in that game. There are a couple times it was close. Sage I've gone back and forth with. Goichi actually. The first Dragon Ball Evo, we played it in top 32 winners or something. It was like off stream. And basically the set went last game, last hit. And yeah, it was just like literally a jab, like killed me in neutral.
Yeah,
but a jab would have killed him too. So it was like really close, yeah.
Damn.
But whenever we played casuals, it was really close. So.
So in FighterZ, there's always been like crazy defense moments. Who's like the hardest player to put away?
To like just open up?
Yeah, or just to close the set against.
Oh, probably Sonic. I think Sonic, yeah. They're like as good as they are, like I feel like all their attributes are 10. Like everyone just talks about like their offense and stuff like that, but like they're neutral, they'll find like spots in neutral to like win or get like a neutral win that like you were not ready for. It's just like, oh my god, this dude really did that. Like what is going on? But they do that like nonstop at every point in the game. So like it doesn't matter what kind of lead you have against them, they always find it.
Yeah.
So you have to play like the tightest neutral you ever played against them. Otherwise, they just take a mile like instantly. I feel like Sonic was always the hardest player to play for me.
So you listed Marvel and FighterZ, but you didn't list Guilty Gear. Is that because you've already won a major?
No,
Do you count that one, by the way? The one
I won early?
Yeah, like Sonic Fox and Kizzy?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, good.
I definitely count it, but I don't know. Like, Guilty Gear for me, I feel like I could win. Because like I've had really big wins over like a lot of Guilty Gear players and stuff like that, and it didn't really mean much to me. And I think it's just because like I enjoy Guilty Gear and like what it's done, and like it's really popular and a lot of people are playing it and there's a lot of good competition, but like I don't know, I don't get the same joy out of winning in Guilty Gear that I do from winning in, let's say, Marvel or like Dragon Ball. It's a lot less like intrinsic for me. It's more like, yeah, I want to win the tournament, and let's say I win the tournament, and then I don't know, it just doesn't feel as good. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's weird because the thing is like Guilty Gear. It's like for me, if I won a tournament, I think it would be really really exciting because like I did it with my character, and then like that's about it. I don't really feel like I am that much better than someone else, unless I'm like winning every like tournament. I don't know. It just feels like that kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. So you and I are both from like very grassroots time.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of like developer support in the games that you and I both like came up with early. You know, there's not like they're pumping in like ton of money or anything like that. Now that like Riot is entering the fighting game space, like what do you think is gonna be like their level of support for fighting games in general and also 2XKO?
I think it's kind of hard to tell, but I would hope that there's a lot more advertising or like just like putting information out there for people to be able to play fighting games. So like being like, oh hey, there's a local in your area, like for 2XKO, right? For example, it's just like getting the word out there is like a really big thing, I think, for fighting games, and that's something locals need now more than ever. Because like everyone knows that there's like a net play tournament like every day, right?
Right.
And like that's cool and that's really important. But I think the most important thing is getting people to go to their locals, because that's something that's like really struggling right now. And I think like if they really tap into that, that'll be huge, and that like makes the like player retention more because they get to experience like the real fighting game, right?
Right.
So I think that'll be dope. And then like having seen how like they handled like Valorant and let the community take an approach and support them and like lift them up, and then eventually do their own thing. Who knows? Maybe like a similar thing will happen, where they help later down the line and let the community like blow up and blossom and just support them in that way.
I am interested to see how the player base will develop because of free to play. Because like I don't know, like if you had this experience, but like as a kid getting my console, like this is probably gonna get a lot of player base from console, but it's like my parents shell out on a console and they're just like, all right, no games though. So it's like I'm scrolling through the PlayStation store and I'm just like, all right, what can I play for free? If there are kids like that, they just be like, oh shit, what's 2XKO? They develop that. They tell their friends. I think the experience of a game blowing up that I've witnessed firsthand that has happened like that, it's actually Fortnite.
Yeah, true. Yeah, actually, that was a lot of word of mouth going around.
Yeah. No, that's so interesting. Yeah, you're right.
Are you guys also fellow Fortniters?
Oh, absolutely. I was jamming that game.
On occasion, I played it, but I can't say I played it a lot.
No, I was absolutely jamming that game. I was running scrims and shit. I'm out here cranking 90s. I'm like editing Windows with a shotgun, left hand side peeking, all that stuff. Do you think that Riot would ever go into like franchising with 2XKO?
I wouldn't say that it's like out of the question. Maybe like who knows what it looks like 4 years into it, right? Or like 3 years into like 2XKO and what they want to do with that. But I feel like I guess we've kind of seen it a little bit with like SFL.
Oh yeah, I was about to
that's like a format, right? And I think something like that is really cool. But I also don't think you could ever make that the main thing, right? I feel like it's a really good thing for like professional players and people who want to get into like professional play and stuff like that, and it gives them a good shot. And it gives like teams more direct access, right? Than like let's say a world tour where everything's open and it's a lot more risk for teams and stuff like that. So I think that's like a probable like format for that game. And I think it's a pretty good one. I think SFL is really cool. Yeah, I always think like the main thing will be like a world tour or something like that, like a pro tour going around. Yeah,
because like at least my observation of fighting games or fighting game players, like if you're in your come up era, it's kind of like very scrappy and like having any sense of stability while you're like chasing your dream of being like a top competitor. I feel like org support really was like kind of like the solution like in the past. Like, what was your experience like first getting sponsored? Like, who was it with, and what did that mean for you? Like, yes, I don't have to split a fucking hotel room with 20 other people.
Yeah, so I mean the first sponsor I got was NRG Esports. It's during Dragonball. So for me, I was kind of always that guy in Marvel that once I got really good, like around like 2015, 2016, like I was 16, and then I have no money, right? So I can't go anywhere because I have no money, but everyone knows that I'm sick, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just stuck. I'm the guy that's just stuck in his region, can't go anywhere. So it was a similar thing for Dragon Ball where like I had no money. I'm in college this time. So I'm traveling a bit more like in my region, like up and down California. So like everyone knows who I am, and like that's cool, but I can't travel to like all the majors on the East Coast or like stuff internationally, right? So when I finally got my big break and I got sponsored by them, I was just able to go to like everything, like have a real fighting game season and go to everything. And yeah, it was really interesting. I don't think that I knew what to expect with like going to a tournament every week because it was back in that era.
Yeah.
There's like a tournament every other like week. There was like 2 or 3 majors a month, like back to back, especially during Dragon Ball. It was really crazy. But yeah, no, it was definitely really dope. It was very tiring. But I think if you really, that's when you learn if you love competing or not. I think when you get assigned like that. So for me, I never really thought about if I loved competing. It was just something I did. But during then, I like really realized I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like this is my favorite thing.
Hell yeah.
Oh, Anna, you can just hit the garage button and we can pull into the back. It's on the. So for audio listeners, we are making a stop at my house to let my roommates out. All right, we're in my house now. Noon, you have the choice of Crystal Geyser or Target Water.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Kitty baby.
Can I carry the Blochi? Are you gonna get added to 2XKO? On the hammock. Yeah.
She's doing it. She's doing it.
Yeah.
We're back. Thank you for tuning into that commercial break. We are starting a couple blocks down from my house, so I don't dox myself. But how was the pit stop, yo?
Good.
I love your cat.
Yeah, the animals were worth.
Andrew's cat is named Bloach.
It is.
I will not offer context.
I am not the stepfather. I'm simply the father who stepped up. But now we're getting back into where did we leave off of?
We were talking about Riot franchising, things of that nature, and I wanted to go a little deeper. We know, speaking of deeper, Riot's got deep fucking pockets. I'm wondering, FGC largely runs off of like crowdfunded stuff. There's a few events throughout the year by like Capcom, Arxis, where they fund it themselves. But for a company like Riot, like what do you think like the upsides are? What is the most ideal position that we can land at 2XKO with Riot's support?
I mean, I feel like the most obvious answer is like they support pots, right? Like there's like a couple big majors of the year that are like, we support these because obviously you can't do every tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like let's say like a Combo Breaker, CEO, Evos, right? Really big stuff like that. The international players go to, it's just global events like that. I think them like throwing in a pot bonus for 2XKO would be huge because it not only like helps the tournament, helps the players, like everyone's gonna watch it. Just a lot of hype toward it, right? There's a lot of stakes outside of like pride, right? Because I mean that's like what a lot of people basically compete on because you can't live off of winnings,
right?
Yeah.
Depending on your game, like nowadays. But yeah, so I think like getting like developer support with like pot bonuses and stuff like that. I feel like that's the biggest one, yeah.
Because what is a livable prize pool? Because I remember Punk tweeting out after winning Evo, he's like, man, I made less than getting second last year.
I don't know. I don't know what that number would look. That's the thing. Like I've never really thought about that number because it's never been like a thing you're trying to like go for through competing. Like
Right.
you mostly do that for you, right? You compete because you want to, and then you
Yeah.
make a living off of it by doing other things, right?
My wish list, obviously prize pots is really big, but I would love for Riot to like really lean into like narrative pieces and
Yeah.
helping make the esports athletes like idols in a way.
Yeah, I think that like you bring that up. That's a good point. I really love
Yeah.
how they make like their Valorant and like League of Legends
Yes.
content leading into like
Yes,
different
dude.
events. That I just love that so much.
Yeah, and I think that can also like, pumping money into a pot, and if that's the only thing that you're gonna add, not to say that's the only thing that they would add,
Yeah.
it gets stale.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
kind of lazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I want Riot to also get creative with their own platform and their own product and whatnot like that. Because like if you think about like Faker, Bjergsen, these dudes are like they're like League of Legends
Yeah.
royalty.
They've like elevated the sport too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I think back to first year of DBFZ or like Five Gods of Melee or like, Justin Wong and Daigo. Like, there's these storylines. Whoa.
Whoa, we are in LA.
Whoa. Holy
Holy.
shit.
Anna, what's going on ahead of us? We've got 2 squad cars going northbound on.
Don't dox yourself.
I don't need to bleep out the address because Noon got me. But yeah, that's actually what got me into esports in general. Like just content.
Yeah.
Like them building out like even before like knowing much about League of Legends, like I already knew who who Faker or Bjergsen double lift from TSM
Yeah, man.
Legends. It's just like how important do you think brand building is for players nowadays? Like I guess like you said in the past, like FGC players would just play for the pride. The FGC players would just play for pride, just like bragging rights type beat. But I feel like in the kin to the same, like the Five Gods era, like their brands were built out from the narrative,
Right.
and now they're kind of like Mango like is like printing money off his stream. Hungrybox owns Team Liquid. We don't talk about Me Too King.
Yeah.
But yeah, like case in point, like you guys are doing content right now. Like,
Yeah.
how do fighting game players sustain a living like after competing? Or is that even is that something they should be thinking about like while they're competing, like building a brand?
Yeah, I mean, like, so for me, the way I looked at it when I got a lot more serious about competing was that having a brand and doing things outside of competing enables you to do what you love more.
Right.
It also enables you to do it better, right? If you go about it a certain way. And so I mean, yeah, that's the thing. So like for me, I wouldn't have been able to keep competing as long as I have since it's been over 10 years at this point. If I didn't, actively think about like, hey, like this is how I want to present myself, and I'm gonna be me, and like, stream more, socialize with people, just make friends where I can, stuff like that. Like, so for me, it like really came naturally with like building my brand because it's just me. Like, it's not like I'm playing a character or anything. Like, I am who I am. Like, I wear my emotions on my sleeve a lot of the time. So like, for better or for worse, it's a blessing and a curse. So it just makes it easy like that for me, and it's helped me a lot, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that all fighting game players should be thinking about their future. I think, like, for me, the end goal was always to work in esports, and, like, that's something that you can kind of use your competitive career to kind of position yourself to do later on in life. And so, for, like, Mango and Hungrybox that you're talking about is, like, these two have, like, definitely transcended Smash, and, like, Hungrybox is running tournaments all the time, and something that our driver, Anna, has actually said before is that Cloud9 and TL and TSM's best pickups they've ever had for Smash players, just purely based on longevity. I'm actually not sure if you said Leffen on that, but for sure that is the case for C9 and Liquid. Those two have, like, transformed the brand single-handedly throughout the years. They might not be the most expensive. You know, you really get the bang for your buck, and those two have also like transformed their own careers like in tandem with organizations.
Well, so to go off the Leffen beat, in my new fighting game lore research, I found a lot of Leffen hate on YouTube. Like, what's the deal?
Oh, there's so much.
There's a lot. Yeah, that's its own rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's like a whole compilation of SF6 as like Street Fighter players like hating on Leffen for 8 minutes straight.
Yep.
There's when he won Guilty Gear Evo, there's no one clapping.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've met him a couple times. He seems like a pretty chill dude.
He's a cool guy. That's all I gotta say. Like, I think he's a little bit of an asshole on the internet. It is what it is. But in real life, he's just a normal dude. I don't know.
Maybe it's like its brand. Maybe it's just like I don't want to say parasocial relationship of
he's definitely the villain for a while. So
yeah, he was. I mean,
that was his thing.
Yeah, during early Smash, he was a very controversial person, and he was not well liked. So that kind of has like stayed with him for like 10 years.
I see.
Yeah, and then also like when he won Evo, I just think a lot of people don't want to see a Smash player win the 2D title.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I feel like that was the thing. People were like, he can't win, and then he won, and it was really free.
Yeah, it was
not
free.
close. It was not close.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's crazy. So we talked about like some of the upsides of Riot getting in. I also want to ask if you think there are any downsides, or better worded, if there are any limiters for it being such a big company.
I don't know. I feel like the biggest thing that will be like the biggest red flag, I think, is like FGC is very like off the cuff, you know, like a lot of things just happen, you know, people are popping off, they're saying stuff, jumping around the stage, doing crazy stuff, right? I feel like if any of that kind of culture gets like limited and like people can't be themselves and like show that emotion, that's like the biggest thing. And I think that's what a lot of people are expecting. But I think that they're smarter than that to try and place that barrier on the community. So I think that would be the biggest thing. But that's like a potential one. I don't think that's like for sure. But you know, maybe I think players nowadays and like in just FGC history, they kind of they just say stuff, right? And like myself included, like I've said like just stuff after losses and stuff like that. Like I think players will definitely have to be a bit more thoughtful about what they put out there and how they present themselves and stuff like that. So there won't be a lot of slack for people doing dumb things like that. So,
yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think another worry that I would have is like just in case they try to monetize too much, try to do a whole calendar year and things like that, and it kind of, let's say it diminishes like a CEO kind of event, you know, things like that. But I really don't think that they're going to do that. Like, I really think that they're going to be like at these events, you know, supporting it, whatnot. It's just like a latent fear. But I truly, like, in this timeline, don't think that they're going to do that.
Yeah, I feel like after talking to, like, just people there and, like, people who are really passionate about the community there, like, it feels like the vibe I'm getting is, like, more uplifting. Like, they want to, like, put a spotlight on the community rather than take it and make it their own thing.
Sure.
You know, so that's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
Okay, I got a divisive question.
Oh, boy.
Before I even set the stage, do you think 2XKO is an original game?
An original game?
Yes.
Why do you what examples have of
what would it be an original game?
Okay, so here goes, and I hope people don't hate me for this. League of Legends came from Dota. Okay. TFT, this came from Dota Auto Chess. Legends of Runeterra, Hearthstone, Valorant, so CS, 2XKO. What do you think? Is it kind of like a Frankenstein of a bunch of different games, right? Or
yeah, so the way I've described to people the game when they ask me this question is it is something new but very familiar at the same time. So I think in terms of, is it its own, I think it is its own game, but it's very inspired by other things. So like the way I describe it is there's parts of other games that are like the skeleton, right, of the body, and then there's a lot of cool things and a lot of great ideas from other games and even its own original ideas. And that's like, the joints, these are the muscles, like it's all coming together to make this one cohesive body. And I think like that in and of itself makes it its own original game.
For sure.
Because like, I mean, the idea of a tag game is not something new. So you can't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And there's so many like renditions of how a tag game can be played, right? There's like MVCI, BB Tag, Marvel 2, Marvel 3, Dragon Ball Fighters, right? So I feel like it's really hard to like reinvent and make a completely new like thing that hasn't been done before. But I think the way they're doing it with a lot of like the system mechanics and character designs and a lot of the unique things about it really does make it its own thing, I feel like.
I would agree. It's a divisive question, but I do really agree.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I do think it's an original game. Yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm playing like a weird, washed down, easy to play version of something.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel like that at all.
On the topic of being easy to play, at least my read from Riot's strategy with releasing this game, with it being free to play and having like things like pulse fuse, it is kind of like trying to cater towards, I don't want to just say casuals, but maybe people who are treating this as like their first fighting game. I guess another thing to note with devs is like how often has a game been ruined when they cater to casuals or new players? Because it seems like they're favoring, they want to build a competitive scene for sure, but also making space for casual and first timers, which I've been around the block with different sports. I feel like every gamer has things to complain about with their game, but I do appreciate the kind of like open gates or low barrier to entry with this game. I don't know what your take is on like, like catering to casuals.
I think it's good. Like you should always have some sort of onboarding for people that are newer to fighting games or new to that kind of fighting game. And I think a game that did it really well is Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
They had a lot of things that like with modern controls and like the game being a bit simpler and a bunch of other things that it has a good tutorial, character tutorials, all that. There's a lot of things you can do to onboard newer players, and I think that it's never really a bad thing. And like on the topic of like fuses, right, with like having pulse fuse, and that's like a giant mechanic of the game, and it's a good way to bring players on and get them hooked to playing the game. And I even noticed it with like a lot of my like casual friends who play like Valorant and like League of Legends. I'm playing it. They're like, yeah, pulse was cool, but then after like 5 days, I got sick of it. So then I swapped to another one to learn how to actually play the game.
That's dope.
So I feel like they're going in the right direction. You just gotta like flesh out like the meat and potatoes of like, this is our good tutorial and this is how you play your character. Like just a lot of tutorials and like onboarding content like that would help a lot. Yes.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went through Strive's tutorials, I was like, everyone keeps saying RC, but there's 4 of them. And then I went into the tutorials, I was like, oh, like this really like let me understand like what's going on here. So that was really good. And obviously the alpha shipped without like really robust tutorials, and I think that's okay because it's an alpha. But
I feel like the alpha was like for people who play fighting games, was like the vibe I got.
Yeah,
and it gave a lot of people a taste of it too.
Yeah, so. I think the game was probably about 25 times harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because, they said, like, no motion controls. Like, oh, so clearly they're going to go in the direction of making this easy, and it's actually not easy.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think it's very, like, it's a very low floor. Like, you get in and do special moves and stuff like that really easily, and, like, you get to, like, the fun parts of the game really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you want to beat someone, it's pretty hard to get there. Like, I don't think it's too hard, but it's not as easy as some were thinking it would be, for sure. Like, moving around the screen, even though it's all, like, a dash button, is actually still really hard. Because you can get hit by so many big things that are just on the screen. Comboing someone is actually, like, pretty tricky depending on your character. It's not all, like, it's not like a Dragonball combo, right, where it's just an auto combo, like, actually. And everyone does the same combo. Like, everyone has unique routing and stuff like that. And, it's definitely, like, a very difficult game. The control scheme in and of itself, like, takes a bit to learn. Well,
I was fumbling. My first day, second day, I was really, really fumbling on the controls.
Yeah, it took me like 3 days to like really feel comfortable holding a controller. I was just like, dude, like I don't. My hands keep hitting like the wrong button over and over,
Yeah.
and it's just like, dude, this is so hard. It's probably the hardest control scheme I played on.
Yeah, I would
You
agree.
traditionally
Fighting
play
games.
stick or
No, I play on pad.
iPad?
I've always played on pad, yeah. And I always like, I never have a hard time with like any game I've played, like Marvel, Dragon Ball, Guilty Gear, anything like that on pad. But playing 2XKO, there's just you have to use every button you have.
Yeah.
Like there is no button that has dead time. Like every single button on your controller is getting pushed like so much during one round, and it never stops. So like you have to really, really, really be comfortable. So like in that initial learning period, it was really hard to not stop or to stop pressing the wrong button over and over and over.
Yeah. Also pressing 3 and 1, as in like down forward
yeah.
and down back.
Yeah.
For like combos and like mechanics and stuff like that. That was really tricky.
Yeah, that took a lot of getting used to. But I think once you get used to it, it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. What is the origin story on +7?
Okay, so it has actually nothing to do with fighting games at all. I was playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And there's like that card game in the game, and for whatever reason, I was just stuck on like one of the initial like fights, and I was stuck for like half an hour. This is really embarrassing. On one of the fights, and I was like, okay, I got it. And then the NPC draws this +7 card, and I just lost. And like that was like the breaking point, because I was like, dude, okay, I suck because I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I just lost, and then he just destroyed me. And this was like 40 minutes of me trying to beat this, and everyone's just laughing at me in my chat. And then so I just like broke and started screaming. And yeah, that was it.
I thought that was a fighting game thing.
No, so that's everyone thinks it was like Wild Assault or something from like
Yeah,
Guilty Gear,
yeah.
but no, that was just playing Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, it was really embarrassing. It was funny though. It's funny.
The card game of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay.
So it wasn't even like the actual game. It
Yeah,
was just
not
like
like the
the little
RPG.
side
Yeah.
like card game in the game. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Dude, that's funny. That's really funny. Okay, actually, we're not gonna ask this question. Right.
Do you guys have like a so you guys main like fighting games, but obviously now learning this lore, you have a favorite JRPG? Is Final Fantasy VII the one, or
Favorite JRPG?
because personally, I don't know if this is a hot take. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy VIII, and then to see a Squall cameo in Kingdom Hearts as Leon, it touched my warm little soul. We can cut off this later.
I'm a Persona 5 kind of guy.
Yeah, I'd say probably Persona 5 for me. P5R, yeah.
There is a Persona fighting game, right?
Persona 4 Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I think I asked you about this before. I was like, a lot of fighting game players that I follow on Twitter, they're always posting about Persona 5. Like, what is the overlap?
Yeah.
Just
Everyone's a
anime
weeb.
fighter? Oh yeah.
Everyone's a weeb.
What kind of game is Persona 4 Arena? I have actually never checked it out.
Okay, I did not main it. I only watched it, so I can't really describe it well. But it is a very violent anime game. It's very violent.
Okay.
So like you have an assist, kind of like your persona is kind of an assist, but that's not really an accurate way to describe it. But it's a very messed up game. It's an old anime game, and it's very cool.
Cool.
But I didn't play it, so I can't really like talk on it that well. But
Okay.
I just watched it. Yeah.
What's like your wish list for champions that are gonna be into XKO?
My wish list. Okay,
Ooh.
first and foremost, it's gonna be a Kali. That's number one. For
Okay.
Sure. After that,
Wait.
Anna, can you hand me the there's like a laminated sheet next to you.
Ooh. What?
Yeah, these are all the champs that. So I did some Reddit sleuthing, and these are all the champs that people were saying could be.
oh,
These are these are the ones that we like cut out for the piece
Yeah.
of content that we'll post later. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like Fiddlesticks, when that one came up, I thought people were gonna be more. At least on Reddit, people were like, "Oh yeah, like he could play more like a kind of like a range champ or something like that." But then no one saw the viability in Fiddlesticks here.
and
Not
nobody was
really.
rocking with him. No, not me.
He's too skinny. He's too thin.
He's too scary.
For a collie, like, what's the level 2? What's the vibe? What kind of character are they?
I feel like for those who played Marvel, she'd have like a bit of like a Strider vibe. Strider hear you, and then like she's a ninja, right? It's like Chip. There's a lot of inspiration. I think you can go from there. But she's like such a fast, mobile character in League, and she has a lot of dashes. She kills you really fast. She has like the shroud to hide in and like outplay things. Yeah, I mean, I'm really not creative, so I don't know how they would translate that to a fighting game. But I have full faith that she'd be really cool.
And then you said Gnar.
Yeah, I really like Gnar. Gnar is cool. I like characters that have like forms or like installs, right? So I feel like that could be something that's really cool to translate into a fighting game where like he has like the rage bar, right, in League of Legends. And like maybe you could have a similar thing in like the fighting game, or like make it like an install super for like a bar, like his level 2 leaves him in the super or in the state, right? So I think that would be really cool. And then going off that, like Kane as well, right? He has 2 forms. I think that would be really cool where you can like, because like 2XKO has this early game and like late game meta right now where like round 1 you have no meter, right? So you have no access to like defensive system mechanics or supers off the bat. But then round 2, after you fought a bit, depending on how you manage your resources, like you have meter for push block and for supers and for parry and stuff like that. So like the same game plans don't fly on round 1 and round 2. So like going off of that, I think characters like Kane would be really cool. Where it's like, okay, round 1 he's like base form Kane, right? And then as you fight in level 1 or in round 1, going into round 2, like I don't know how they would choose to implement like red form and blue form, but it's like, okay, if you're fighting like a range champ, like how it is in League, right? You get blue form. If you're fighting like a melee, you get the red form. Like I don't know how they would translate that, but having the decision to go red or blue, I think would be really, really cool in a fighting game. So it's like you're fighting a completely different character round 2, and you have to play a different character round 2, right? And I think there's a lot of like skill expression in that. So I think that would be really cool.
That is so crazy. That's the opposite of the kind of characters that I like to play.
Yeah, for me, I like non-standard stuff. Yeah, like I feel like I'm always a bit of like a top tier enjoyer. But the way I describe it is like I always like broken stuff and they play the game really well, but they're a little bit non-standard. Like it's not Ryu. Like if Ryu's broken, I think that sucks. But like when something a little weird like Fong or something is like broken, I think that's really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How like abnormal is Kid Buu in the cast of fighters?
In Dragon back then, I wouldn't say he was like the weirdest thing in the game, but like he was not played, or he was not like, not everyone was like playing Kid Buu, like every top player. There were a lot of people who would make top 8, win major, stuff like that, but not a lot of them played Kid Buu. So he was kind of like a more specialist kind of character because the way he played neutral was very strong, but you also had to have like really, really strong movement and put yourself in specific spots of the screen very well. And he's small, so you can move around really well. But the thing is, like, he didn't do a lot of damage. So you needed like 2-3 hits most of the time, or like sometimes you just need one good hit with like Android 16, and then his set play is crazy. And he also was very like resource dependent. Like he needed an assist to do mix-ups, stuff like that. Otherwise, you were just staggering on them and doing stuff like that. So he's a bit of like a hungry character. He took a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. You're like main in Marvel. The character you're known for was Zero, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to rank them 1 through 4.
4. Okay. Number 1.
Not in terms of how much you like them. Where you think their power is.
Their power. Oh, okay. Zero number 1. For sure. I think he's one of the most broken characters ever made. Marvel. This is UMVC 3-0. I think Derry. So for Kid Buu, it's just when I played, right?
Yes.
Okay, from when I played, I think Darius, Kid Buu, and then Bridget.
Bridget last?
Yeah, Bridget last.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that is because it's like current Darius is so like disgustingly broken. He's hella good. And like Kid Buu was really, really good, but he was like, it was just annoying to play him when there was easier top tiers to play. Like, not saying he was hard, but he took resources and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then Bridget is just not even a top tier. She's just a mid tier character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think Dragon Ball FighterZ has like arrived to the point of where it is now. Like to so many people,
Yeah.
it is like hardly recognizable.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day because the new patch that just came out, and I honestly don't understand the trend. Like, they've changed the game so much every major patch, right? But I don't know the line of thinking where they're like, okay, let's add full screen normals, and then let's make every special move safe on block, full screen, and then auto hit confirm for you. And then they like did a few crazy things and then just like doubled down on it every single time. So I don't know how they got there initially, but after that they were like, what if we just keep making the same idea and same concept like crazier? And I have no idea how you get there as a developer, especially like early on when there was so much crazy stuff version 1, and then they were like, okay, let's just keep nerfing it, let's get rid of mix-ups, and then they just add all this crazy stuff later on. So I mean, I don't know, it's really weird.
Is now not a good time to get into it? Because I've seen clips from like Nitro's stream, and they're just like, this game fucking sucks now.
I think honestly, if you're not playing a tournament, it's probably the most fun.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think it's the most fun it's ever been, maybe.
I'm down for valet. Alright.
Right.
Well, looks like we have to put a pause on the stream again.
Okay.
No stream.
We can record more while we're sitting down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
All right. Oh, we bring the whole pod setup in. Okay. Well, another commercial break. We'll do the outro after we eat.
Okay.
All right.
Cheers. Cheers to Jake Dorado, fucking champion. Jmook. Cheers. Shout out FlyQuest.
Hey, so we kind of forgot to do an outro for the video, which is a big L, but the big W is winning an LCS title, so I'm okay with that. Ended up going to DSS, having a few drinks, and then the video itself blacks out just as we do, and we come up, we wake up and we're LCS winners.
Beautiful.
Noon, how do you feel about contributing to our first ever LCS championship? When you think about it, FlyQuest has 0 championships without Supernoon.
Well, I will say I have this effect. When I show up, people win. When I'm not there, they don't win. So, like a 1%. Take it.
2 EVO titles, 1 LCS title. World's title? We gotta follow you out.
Soon?
Yeah, we gotta follow you
Yeah,
out.
let's go to England.
Like, comment, subscribe, Patreon, Spotify, Apple Music.
Ooh, okay, we'll actually be on Spotify because Dota asked to be on Spotify.
Okay, yeah. If you don't like, comment, subscribe, the guy holding the camera is gonna get fired.
We don't want that.
I like having a job.